Good afternoon, collectors and friends. Welcome to Trading Card Therapy, our 50th episode. I am your host, the Doctor. 2023 is quickly ending, and 2024 is quickly upon us. So, what have you learned in the hobby in 2023? What are some of your goals for the hobby in 2024? Those are the subjects of today's epic 50th episode of Trading Card Therapy. Well, maybe not epic, but in my opinion it is. I've had a good time so far. I hope you all have as well. If you want to listen to 49 other episodes of me yapping about sports cards, the hobby, the industry, the business, and my professional card treasure hunting as I know it, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and any of the other major places that you enjoy your podcast. Also, if you check out YouTube, all of our episodes, you can actually listen to as well as watch the episode itself on my Just Collect YouTube channel. So thank you very much to each and every one of you for tuning in today. We have a really big giveaway that we're doing, courtesy of Just Collect, courtesy of Vintage Breaks, and of course, we have 3 different prizes to make sure that we not only cover all the sponsors, but we have like a little something from everybody. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. Thanks for tuning in, James. What's up, RB? Thanks for tuning in as well. Happy holidays once again to all. Happy New Year. It's going to be a great episode here and hopefully even a better year for each and every one of you out there. So we're giving away a $500 break credit to VintageBreaks.com, our breaking company. We break not only vintage, but we break modern, like National Treasures, Immaculate, Prism Football's releasing. We'll have some of that. So lots of fun stuff there. And of course, we are the world leader in set breaks here at Vintage Breaks. So you can spend that $500 if you win on any break you'd like. And we have well over 100 breaks available on our site. We're also giving away a $500 gift certificate that you can spend on any single graded card that's available at fixed price in my eBay store, just_collect. There's over 650 primarily vintage graded cards right now. And you could either use the $500 on one card and use it towards something that's more expensive, or use the $500 to buy several cards. And we'll also be happy to save you the eBay fees. So you'll probably get like $550 worth of cards because I'll save you that 10%. So anyway, those are the 2 prizes from Just Collect and Vintage Breaks. But lastly, we didn't want to forget those that maybe are not necessarily actively collecting in the hobby, but you are active with the holidays and you maybe bought a few more things for your cousins or your loved ones than you should have, or maybe an extra thing or 2 for yourself. Well, 3rd place today will be a $100 cash gift, PayPal, Zelle, however we're going to get you the money that it'll be easiest for you. We will make sure we do that. So those are the 3 prizes that we're giving away here on Trading Card Therapy, our 50th episode. So it's very simple. The only way to have a chance to win is you have to follow our podcast, Trading Card Therapy, on Instagram. It's all one word. And if you do so by the end of today's episode, you'll see the easiest way for us to give away the 3 prizes. We're going to literally just scroll. We're going to give away 3 different prizes at the end of today's show. So make sure you're not only tuned in for today's show, you don't have to be tuned in to win, but you do need to follow Trading Card Therapy on Instagram. And once again, thank you to each and every one of you for not only tuning in maybe today, but also supporting us for the other 49 episodes and the journey that took place before today's 50th show. All right, things I learned in the hobby in 2023. First thing is constantly thin your own herd. Call it your own horde, whatever you'd like. But what I mean by your own herd, so if you're working on sets, but you're also kind of like buying wax, or you're speculating on rookies, but you're also kind of buying some 3x5 index cards. Not suggesting you should work on all those things at once, but we all know we've been there because I've done this. You have multiple projects going at once, and then you just lose interest or you forget, and you're like, wow, I didn't realize I have a Pistol Pete Maravich 3x5. I don't even really collect 3x5s anymore. I'd much rather have a signed Pistol Pete photo or an unsigned Pistol Pete photo or a Pistol Pete rookie card or frankly, anything vintage basketball. The point is, folks, don't let unfinished products build up. You've got this like big herd. You're trying to manage it with like the lasso. You don't know what to do. I'm telling you what to do from the doctor. Organize, make sure it's nice and neat. You can see it, and then start figuring out what you're really passionate about, and then start selling the rest. I'm going to give some plugs here. Sell it on eBay yourself. Sell it through Probstein on consignment. Sell it through any of the major auction houses like REA, Heritage, Memory Lane, Golden, lots more. I myself am not only the only professional card treasure hunter in the country, but we do pay very competitively, meaning you can call myself, you can call Steve Hart, he buys vintage. He also buys vintage wax. So do we. Other breakers out there buy wax. The point is, if you're working on different things, don't let the accumulation just get so big that it becomes cumbersome to you and everyone around you. So you know who's going to be happier? You're going to be happier. Your loved ones are going to be happier. You're going to have more money for your collecting budget, 100%. You're also going to have the ability to always look at my notes because I spent some time preparing for the show. You're also going to have the ability to strike when something comes at auction or you're at a convention and you're only going to see it maybe there and you don't need to borrow. You're just ready to go because you feel good. Not only do you have the cash in tow, but you've also organized and you started to thin that herd and not have so much. For me, I'm really trying hard that if I don't see it, if I don't look at it regularly, if I can't enjoy it or I'm not enjoying it, maybe it's time to move on to something else. So that's what I mean as far as that goes. And one of the places I wanted to start to share with you what I did firsthand. Listen, this took a lot of work, not just for myself, but for my team. So this year, we sold easily a few thousand units. When I say units, of cards, mainly vintage cards, but in some cases modern, meaning like a Griffey rookie, a Gwen Topps rookie, whatever the case may be. We sold them on eBay. We started every one of these cards. By the way, they're all ungraded. We started every one of them at 99 cents each. We did north of $30,000 in sales. Yes, we had to pay the fees. Yes, we had to put in the time. But guess what? I still have plenty of cards. And I got plenty of cards that I'm going to hopefully do next year and make sure that I try to double output. And in those cases, I'm really not selling cards that I feel like I want for myself and even for my business, to retail, for example, like T206s. If they're selling for good money on eBay, ungraded, there's no reason to try to piece out a $50 card or a $100 card at a show. Get what you think is fair, selling it at auction at 99 cents. And another piece of small advice, if you do this, the more cards you do at one time, typically the better prices you will get. Because what happens is, you think about the logic, that line in your description of, hey, click to see on our other 500 plus auctions is so valuable because if people are enjoying what they're seeing, all of a sudden they're being kind of pulled into your web, right? You're reeling them in. And you not just have 06s, but you got a 64 Mays, you got a 58 Yankee team card, you got an 89 Upper Deck Griffey rookie. And then you notice it works because when you're doing the invoices, which we just did this past Sunday night, by the way, not on Christmas Eve, they sold, but we weren't open until Tuesday. When we ran their invoices, we saw you had people buying an 06 with a Tony Gwynn Topps rookie. They weren't necessarily looking for a Tony Gwynn Topps rookie, but I guarantee you, or I'm fairly certain, that those folks clicked on see the other seller's items. And so that's what I mean by listing more of these items, these 99-cent cards at once. You're not only thinning your hoard or herd, you're not only increasing the amount of space you have, you're not only increasing your bankroll, but you're really going to get fair money for these cards. And I'm not counting anything gradable. But remember, there's lots of ungraded cards for sale at every auction house that I bid in, at every card show. So I've just found this niche of I auction cards at 99 cents on eBay. Sometimes they sell at $3. I shoot for at least $5, and I've sold cards for as much as about $200. But we did about $30,000 of sales on eBay just last year doing that. So if anyone has any questions about how to get started, and just want some tips off air, DM me right here on Trading Card Therapy, or you can email me direct, Leighton, Leighton, at justcollect.com. All right, next thing that I learned in 2023, not that I didn't know it, but I definitely did it. I executed, and please do this next year. We're going to talk about a little unknown card in the T206 set named Steve Evans. You might be like saying, Leighton, why are you talking about a common player from the Cardinals from such a massive set when there's so many other great cards? Well, remember, the highlight of what I'm talking about right now all has to do with capitalizing on trends. And what I mean is, if you see something happening in our beloved hobby and you think it's a little bit nutty, it's a little bit crazy, don't worry about what anyone else thinks. All I know is that when I was pricing out some T206 Steve Evans graded cards that I received back from PSA and SGC over the last 6 months, 4 months, give or take, maybe less, I noticed that there was not that many available. Prices seemed to be escalating, and I was able to successfully sell into it, meaning every single time I listed a new graded version, there was usually 2, 3, or 4. I never had any of the rarebacks. I saw people starting to take advantage of the fact, hey, J5, you grab that bucket that's in the front, has a few photos I want to show off. Thank you. I saw people trying to get, I would call it, what do they say, pigs get slaughtered? I saw people really just trying to take advantage of the market. And I think there's taking advantage of the market, and then there's becoming a little bit too greedy or piggish, where all of a sudden now your buy it now is not selling. So guess what I did? Every time I listened to Steve Evans, that card wasn't more important to me than it was 6 months ago. But clearly to one particular or to a few particular individuals, it was. And so I made sure that each and every time we listed it, I was a little bit less expensive than the cheapest person. Because I'm like, even if I leave a little money on the table, I want to execute. I want to sell, i.e., I want to take advantage of the trends. And meaning, especially the ones I don't think are going to last. Lo and behold, some of the T206 Steve Evans cards have come back to earth. They're not as cheap as they were 6 months ago or 8 months ago. But point being, and I'm going to show you in just a minute, I was able to take that hard-earned money that someone else spent on that card. And some people like to say they got ripped off, etc. All I know is that to buy it now on eBay, it takes one person. So this individual bought several of those examples from us. I hope that they're happy with them. And we were able to take that money here, and I parlayed it into something that I really wanted to get out of an auction house that's one of my favorites, REA. And I'm going to show that off in just a minute. But my point is, by capitalizing on trends, it allows you to have more liquidity. It allows you to bid on something in an auction, maybe a little bit more than you expected to do, and a whole host of other things that can happen at a convention where maybe you get caught up in a pack war, like a good old-fashioned pack war with some buddies from high school or college you haven't seen in forever, and you do it on like a $100 box. Each of you take a $100 box. The point is, maybe you wouldn't have done that if you didn't sell into the trends. So that is my advice in terms of dealing with things that are an anomaly, like a T206 Steve Evans. And of course, maybe the T206 Steve Evans stays up in price. I won't feel any worse off by selling several examples for thousands of dollars and putting that money into my business, into a few really cool photographs, which I'm about to show off in a minute. Thanks, Red Rum. Appreciate it. And so that is, my, I guess, best advice on taking advantage of the hobby trends. So before I move on, I wanted to show you, so I collect photographs. These I've already showed off on a previous show. Hey, John, do I just click the camera like usual? Great, guys. So I paid $2,700 for these 3 Kobe Bryant candid snapshot photos out of the last REA auction. They're all from 1996. May Kobe rest in peace. But they have to do with the McDonald's All-American game. And I love Kobe. I love Kobe growing up. And of course, I collect photographs. So this may be him participating in a slam dunk contest before he even came into the NBA. And the last one is right here of him signing autographs at a really, really young age. So I really enjoyed, you can see here, it's stamped April 1st, 1996. So Kobe was a rookie in the fall of 96, got drafted, then traded to the Lakes, and the rest is history, as they say. And so candidly, these photos cost about $2,700. It's a whole roller coaster of emotions about how I won them. But I would have never bought these, ever, if I did not take advantage of some of the hobby trends I saw in 2023. Remember, even if they continue to go up, if you made money and you're happy, don't worry about what happens in the future, because I know I'm certainly not. I'd advise you to do the same. By the way, I also collect Michael Jordan photographs. Here's a beautiful one from the 92 NBA Finals. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't show these off to Instagram. So let me show that off right there. That's one. That is two. And that is three. So for those that don't know me, yes, hi, my name's Leighton, and I have a problem. I collect vintage photographs. Vintage doesn't matter, 90s, 60s, early 1900s. It doesn't really matter. I hardly ever sell them. In fact, the last photograph I sold was several years ago. You can look it up yourself, robertedwardsauctions.com. I sold one of the very known, I haven't seen one since. I sold a photo of Wilt Chamberlain scoring the bucket to get him to 100 points in that epic game in Hershey, Pennsylvania, all those years ago. And even though I was happy with the money at the time, put it into the house that we were getting, man, that was a great photo. It sold for over $10,000 at auction, and I'm sure it found a great home. And so I've been collecting photos for a long time. Here is, I'll try to show you, a Michael Jordan. It is probably a little bit, about an 8x10. It's from 92, but it's the NBA Finals. So I have some really nice Jordan wire photos or original photographs, whatever you'd like to say, in my collection. Here is another photo. This one I really liked because he's dunking, and typically dunking photos go for a fair premium if you know anything about original Michael Jordan photos. And by the way, these are all unsigned. Great question, Just Card. I do have some vintage tickets, but I really not aggressive about them. I'm much more into collecting vintage and photographs from this time period. So that's my point. Capitalize on some trends that maybe, even if they continue, you're not going to be upset to have some great things like that. And one of the other things that I want to talk about is, there's a lot of hobby info out there. Of course, Trading Card Therapy, we've had 50 episodes, been doing it for a little while. I encourage you to listen. I encourage you to soak it in. But please, and if you want any advice, hit me up. Happy to offer it. But do yourself a favor. Make your own decisions. Become your own hobbyist. Because even if you're wrong, you'll still be happier for it. And I know for me, even like with this piece, I totally am. This is a 51 Yankee scorecard, okay? Keep in mind, right, what Mantle sign balls are going for, or even Mantle sign flats. Meaning, nice Mantle sign photo, 8x10, a little bit bigger, 500, maybe 750. Anything special, any special inscriptions, 1,000 plus, right? Easy, easy, easy. Here's a program that's in gorgeous shape from Mantle's rookie year from 1951. It was scored, and guess what? Mantle signed it, but he didn't just sign it. He inscribed it in 1951 and number 6, which was his first number when he came to the majors. I got this from REA for about $1,200. Let me tell you something. You can't put this together if Mantle was alive for that. If Mantle was alive, he'd want $750 for a number 6 inscription. He'd want another $500 minimum, probably more, for a 1951 inscription. And by the way, if you haven't checked, Mantle died several years ago. So this is what I mean about taking advantage of the trends, fitting your own herd. It doesn't just have to be money that's on the sidelines. You then all of a sudden can start bidding where maybe you weren't going to look for a Mantle sign program, but you're like, Jesus criminy, that seems like a really fair value. And I don't have anything 1951 Mantle inscribed in my collection. I don't have anything inscribed with his original number 6. And so for me, I don't need someone else to tell me did I do well or not. I love it. So please, I encourage you, go out there, soak it up, listen, ask questions, but make this your own decision in the end. You'll be happier for it. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Okay, so the last couple things that I wanted to share about what I both learned in 2023, but also I think that you should try to do in 2024. Well, before I come to that, thank you, Robert. Appreciate it. What's up, Daniel? So don't forget, folks, by the end of today's episode, if you want to have a chance to win over $1,000 in prizes, actually $1,100, be 3 different prizes. All you have to do is follow yours truly, the doctor, on Trading Card Therapy on Instagram, And if you do that by the end of today's show, at the end of the show, we're going to randomize the list. We're going to do it really just like the old-fashioned way, close our eyes, because that's the only way to do it that we know that's easy. And we're going to pick 3 different winners to win $500 to the Just Collect eBay store, $500 at VintageBreaks.com. And if you've overextended yourself in the holidays, $100 cash prize, PayPal, Zelle, etc., will get you the money. All right. So first thing is, we're all guilty of this before the pandemic and when it started and grading got crazy and PSA shut down, SGC shut down. We all had lots of cards we wanted to grade. And then we missed the boat. And then when they opened back up, excuse me, we're all excited. Then we're like, oh, the prices. Then the prices came back down a little bit. Now they're reasonable. In many cases, they're reasonable. Point is this. Do yourself a favor in 2024. If you have cards that you want to get graded, you don't want to grade them yourself, sell them to a buddy, let him make some money, sell them to a dealer, let them make some money. Joking aside, you should grade them yourself. It takes time. So my advice is, if you're not doing it regularly, send in a package every month. You're more of a regular person, do it every week. We send in several packages a week now with PSA. And the reason why we do that is because once we hit a critical mass of packages with PSA, at some point we'll hit the tipping point and then we'll start to get back. One package, we're hoping, every week, a couple packages a week, and you really start to have a steady flow of graded cards. But what that allows us to do is to have a steady flow of graded cards to offer to our Vintage Breaks community, sell on eBay, offer for trading, deal making at card shows, etc. And so if you have cards that are just waiting around, I know it's annoying, like no one wants to mow the lawn. Generally, people don't love house chores. So if you look at it like that, and you're not going to do it, I get it. But if you're someone who just needs that little bit of nudge, do it. It's going to be a little bit easier for you to have liquidity in your collection. And even if you don't want to sell the cards, you'll still be better off at some point down the line. And so that was the first piece of advice I had about cards that are sitting around that need to be graded. And the last piece of advice I wanted to offer, as far as something that I think will not only be easier for you to do in 2024 with us being post-COVID, knock on wood, but also it's more fun to do this, is be open to deal making, cash, trade. I've done some funny stuff. I see people offer flips. I'm like, you know what, buddy? You're stuck behind the booth. I'm asking for a little savings. I'll tell you what, I see the wife looking in the background. I'll buy you guys lunch and bring it to your booth if you give me your price. They're like, well, the lunch is going to cost you $20. You're only asking for it. You know what? You deliver it. I don't have to leave the booth, maybe do an additional sale. I don't know anyone that does that. Offer to bring, pay for and bring a dealer lunch in lieu of some discount that's a little bit more. To believe me, the right dealer, and most of them are, they're good people, they'll appreciate it. And then in terms of going to a show or a card shop or to your buddy's house, believe me, Adam Zarin, if you're out there, he's a successful lawyer now. When I used to go to his house to play, we'd play basketball, we would play baseball. But make no mistake, there was a trading component of us getting together. Bring that back. When you go to your card store, don't just bring your wallet. If it's a good shop like ours here at Just Collect, at Vintage Breaks, we're going to make sure we support. So if you have some cards, even if we're a little bit off, we'll try to buy them from you. If we don't really want them, but maybe we could try to work something out, we'll see if we can give you some store credit for them. But if you leave them at home, if you don't organize the herd, you can see how this all comes back to just taking a breath. If you have some time at the end of the year, early next year, really, the hobby is like, it's not that much different than anything else in life, right? Like the relationship with our children. Crosby, if you're out there, I love you, bud. 50th episode. It was just his 9th birthday. We had a great time. But like, if I don't give time to that relationship, I'm not going to get back from it what I want, which is, love and spending time together and seeing him grow up. And so it's the same thing with the hobby, right? If you ignore all these different pieces, you're like, oh, I got to grade cards. I got to organize. I got to look at these projects. I get it. You know what? If it's such a chore, that just, if you don't want to sell or get out, put it in your closet and forget about it. But if you're as a hobbyist and you're a friend of the collecting community, like myself is, take a moment, do yourself a favor, collect your thoughts, collect your cards, get them a little in better shape. And I'm going to announce this at the end of the show today. So this is what I mean by deal making. I've never done this before, but I'm going to give a shout out to my really good friend, longtime hobbyist and friend, Rich Albersheim, who I've known for well north of 20 years. And he does this sale every year where he says, you know what, gang, I've ended the year. We're just going to keep it easy. So it's going to be anything that's available in my eBay store, just_collect. Until January 2nd, when I get back to the office next Tuesday, you can check out my eBay store. There's over 650 graded cards, mostly vintage. And if you're interested in a card, if you just want to make me an offer flat out, you can do that. And what I mean by offer, if I have a card for $100, if you offer me $20, just to be clear, I will not accept it, but I will also be respectful. I will not call you any names. However, if you want to try to have some success, try to offer closer to what you think the card might be worth or what you're comfortable paying. And number two, I'm also willing to trade. So if you don't have the funds in cash, but you're like, wait, wow, I really want this Addy Joss T206 portrait. I don't quite have 700, but man, I hit a 56 Jackie from Vintage Breaks in one of the bonuses. I actually have a couple 05s that just got back from SGC. I have a few extra cards. Can I offer you these 6 cards for this card? Even if I say no, make no mistake, I will tell you if we are close. If we are way off, I'll just say no, thank you. But I am happy to try to make some deals with you in this really cool way. My buddy Rich Albersheim calls it the make an offer sale. So it's not a make an offer sale and we're just going to accept any offer you make. No, we're going to have some fun. You're going to make an offer to my email, Leighton, Leighton at justcollect.com. You can also DM me on any of my Instagram accounts, Trading Card Therapy, Just Collect, or Leighton Sheldon. Folks, I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed the 50th episode. If I'm not mistaken, J5, it is now time to give away the 3 prizes. You have to be following. I'm going to give everyone another 30 seconds. Anyone, Monty nailed it. Baseball cards, absolutely much better than house chores ever since I was a kid, that's for sure. So right now, we're going to give away 3 prizes. First place, yeah, you want to pull it? Yeah, okay. We're going to give away $500 break credit to VintageBreaks.com, world leader in set breaks. Check it out. Second prize will be the $500 spending spree to Just Collect. Third place will be the $100 cash prize.
Okay. So first one, so we just.
So I just go like this?
Like that. Just stop it.
And they're all following, right?
All following.
All right. So I'm just going to close my eyes so they can see. J5, just make sure I'm scrolling.
Stop.
Okay. Who is it?
Tell me. No,
I don't know. Jersey Boys cards.
Okay, let me see.
Right there.
Yeah.
He is following.
Jersey Boys cards. Okay, that is for the $500 Just Collect.
Yep. Now I'm going to scroll for Just
Breaks.
For Vintage Breaks.
Vintage Breaks.
Oh, I said it the opposite, John.
Oh.
I said the opposite. I said $500 to Vintage Breaks, then $500 to Just Collect.
Then Jersey Boys gets the
Yep. Next up, you will have a chance to win a $500 spending spree to my Just Collect eBay store.
Just scroll.
Great. Give everyone a fair chance. Yeah. So, gang, just to be clear, I'm doing it in this fashion because we don't know another way to randomize the list. So I'm literally just scrolling. I'm going to do it with my eyes closed. And, of course, you all have a chance to win big. Most importantly, I really am just so grateful for the hobby that I love, a business I thoroughly enjoy, a team that makes it all happen, kind of behind the glass, so to speak. And really, this give back is just all about hobby love. So if you have some hobby love this season and you're lucky enough to win, maybe even if you're not lucky enough to win, maybe give a card away to someone that could use a pick-me-up, even if they're not in the hobby. You'd be amazed at the response you get from folks with unsolicited kindness. So with that, second prize is going to go to, let's see, whatever, right here. Frank Paul F. Gunteski. He follows us. So he is also qualified. Thank you, RB. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Ken.
Okay.
And then lastly, we're going to give away $100 right now.
This is cash.
Folks, if we do it right, this time next year, if we get one a week, which I'm planning to for Trading Card Therapy, we'll be at 100 episodes plus. You can only imagine what the giveaway will be at the end of next year. So stay tuned. If you enjoy hobby content, card-related content, a little hobby business content in the interim, and of course, yes, I am going to give shout outs to my son Crosby because I just don't know any other way to be a sappy dad. And because my son just turned 9, he's not letting me be sappy with him anymore. So I got to do it somewhere. All right. Lastly, third prize, $100. The survey says Mike T. Ruth. Mike Truth Bombs. I don't know who that is.
Mike's.
And with that, we're going to wrap up our 50th episode of Trading Card Therapy. Happy and healthy New Year to each and every one of you and your family and friends. Thanks, everybody.